Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Conn and the Stick. I'm your host, Justin Connolly, joined with my co-host, Nick Smith, and we're going to be starting our wrestling podcast to really introduce our way into the WWE. And obviously, for our first podcast, we wanted to bring in another one of our close friends, a great guy that knows a lot about wrestling, Scott Bargeson. Welcome to Conn and the Stick, our first guest.
It's excellent to be here. I'm very excited to give my input and try to keep up with you guys when it comes to the podcast.
Well, we're happy to have you on. So we're going to be starting our WWE wrestling, branching off to it. And I know this is something that me and Nick talked about for a couple months, where we wanted to kind of branch off into it. And I mean, it's something that we're passionate about. I know for a fact, whether your feelings are in professional wrestling, it's just something we wanted to do, and something, like I said, we're passionate about.
Oh, yeah, and I actually think this is going to be very interesting because I know between the three of us, we do have different viewpoints and different perspectives on certain wrestlers. Like, there's guys that you like a lot that I'm not too big on. There's guys that I love. I know you guys also don't like. So this actually should be very interesting to see where we go with our predictions, where we think some of these wrestlers are going to be going moving forward. It is SummerSlam. It's the second biggest. Well, it's the biggest one of the summer. Royal Rumble is also up there, but SummerSlam's usually their second tier show, right behind WrestleMania. So it's gonna be a huge show. The show's probably gonna be close to 8 hours because that's how wrestling pay-per-views are now, with pre-show starting at like 5. But we got a lot to discuss. So
yes, we have a lot to discuss. Pretty much the basis of what this video is going to be. We're going to break down. We pretty much have a solidified card for the most part. There's a little bit of questions when it comes to the Raw Tag Team Championships being on the line, and whether or not Rusev is going to fight Andrade Cien Almas after all the controversy that's been going on within these last couple of weeks. I can expect them to be probably a pre-show match, but we're going to break it down, talk about what we like in these matches, what can we expect to see, how we feel about the superstars and what they have to offer, and we'll give you our prediction on who's going to win. So without further ado, let's get into this. And you know what? Let's just assume, and we'll start with the two that we're going to assume will maybe make their way into this card. Let's start with Rusev and Andrade Cien Almas, two guys that I think are pretty big stars on SmackDown. I mean, obviously, Rusev might be the most over guy in wrestling right now.
Oh, 1 second. Let me interrupt. Happy Rusev Day. Happy Rusev Day.
Oh, yes. Happy
Happy
Rusev Day. It is, but it hasn't really been Happy Rusev Day the last couple of weeks. We've seen Rusev drop a match to Andrade. We've seen Lana lose 2 straight matches to Zelina Vega. So there is a lot going on in that, and part of it is due to Aiden English getting involved. And, he's trying to get involved in the benefit of both her and Rusev, of Lana and Rusev, but it hasn't really gone their way as of late.
Yeah, it's actually a shame because I love the Rusev and Aiden English together. I just love the whole Rusev thing, whole Aiden English singing every time he comes out, different raps, different styles. I think it's awesome. So. But I sadly think this is probably the end of them because sooner all good things end. Like Jericho and KO, they ended, and I guess English and Rusev got an end too. But Rusev, he's good in the ring. He's great outside the ring. He's just hilarious to watch. English helps him out. Lana is not anything special. She has the whole Russian thing, and she's pretty. But besides that, she's not really all that great wrestling-wise. But this match, I actually expect a lot because Almas, I believe, is just a phenomenal wrestler. In NXT, he put it on great match after great match. 5-star match with Gargano. And honestly, yeah, this is just going to be a good match. And nothing high-flying because Rusev's not that type of wrestler. He's more of your methodical type guy. He does some great Machka kicks. But you could expect some really great athleticism from Almas in this match.
You see, my biggest issue with this is the fact that Rusev and Aiden English are still cuspy when it comes to the heel face debacle. Like Aiden English will say all these fun like face things about Rusev, talking about the city, and then he'll turn it all around within 3 seconds of being in the ring. He'll have the silly out of ring shenanigans, and he'll start with the opponents. It's really aggravating to watch because Rusev is so over, and Rusev Day is such a huge thing within the WWE community and the fans as a whole. It's just aggravating to see over and over again how they keep squandering his potential. He has so much purchasing power and so much influence over the WWE and SmackDown as a whole that he is becoming a huge draw. The only thing that I could see coming out of this is that either Aiden English is going to turn face and he's going to leave Rusev because Rusev hit him or something like that, or Rusev and him are both going to turn complete face whether or not they win or lose to Almas, which is almost out of the question given the previous track record of the writers of the WWE. So we'll have to see how that turns out.
I mean, yes, and I like Rusev as much as the next guy. Well, maybe not. I'm not as big as maybe you two are. I know you two are really big on the Rusev train,
Rusev.
but I mean, if I'm really gonna hype up Almas, I mean, the thing I mean, obviously, if you're doing comparisons, and everyone in WWE has a comparison to someone, I think really there's one guy you can't compare to anybody, but we're not going to talk about him tonight. It's an NXT star. I think Ricochet's in a class of his own when it comes to the stuff that he does. But Almas is a more athletic Alberto Del Rio, in my opinion.
Oh, he is certainly everything that Alberto Del Rio should have been. He's just an all-around he has a better look. He has a better partner in having Zelina Vega, who is a much greater height person.
Zelina Vega really makes Almas.
It helps him out.
It helps him out
much.
so much because she is so great on the mic and does such a great heel woman manager persona that it just makes you want to watch Almas even more. Because obviously you can be, in my opinion about WWE is the fact that you can be a great wrestler but be not successful because your character isn't. But you can be a great character and not a good wrestler, and you can be successful.
Yeah, we've seen that plenty of times. Just one example, a guy fighting tonight, SummerSlam, Finn Balor, he's phenomenal in the ring, but character-wise, he's not all that there. He doesn't have much that people really grab after, so character's huge in WWE. It just... Jericho, he's made livings off characters. Kevin Owens, another guy.
I mean, Apollo Crews is another guy I think is a pretty good talent in the ring. He's just he's bland, and I mean, again, this is like a TV show.
Yeah.
You get over having a good character.
Even having a goofball like Titus O'Neil isn't saving that little potato-faced man in the middle of the ring. It's just really a shame.
So, were you going to say something before about...
Oh, yes, I was going to say something really quick about Zelina Vega. It's excellent to see such a bilingual manager succeed when Andrade has very limited range of English and still being able to work really well to the American audience and the English-speaking audience. We've seen similar types of things before, like, say, Lord Tensai, who we all knew was Albert, who was an American.
No.
Right. That whole character. But it was nice to see the kind of success that you could find with a bilingual manager and see that kind of translator heat that you can sometimes get with a lot of guys.
Yes, so now we'll go to our prediction on the matter. Really, Nick, who do you got?
I have Almas winning. It's his first major pay-per-view. Just up from NXT. You can't start the guy off of a loss. With someone with as much talent as he has, I think Rusev Day, it's been going on for so long. Yeah, I want to see Rusev win, but I just feel like it's going to start dying out soon, and you got to push your newer, probably more potential in Almas. So I'm going to go with Almas winning this match.
As much as the purchasing power of Rusev Day has been, Almas is definitely going to win, and if he loses, it's a huge shame and a robbery to his character. Taking somebody like Rusev, and granted, Rusev hasn't exactly had the best track record on pay-per-views, like ever since he was first coming to the WWE, but there's no chance that Rusev's going to come out of this unscathed, even if he, in the slight chance, wins by DQ because of Zelina Vega doing something silly to the referee, or Aiden English doing something silly to Rusev and hitting him and causing a victory for Rusev. It's still going to make him end up with egg on his face, so Almas is definitely going to win.
It's funny that you mentioned before, though, about the fact that we might see Aiden English and Rusev, because I think that with Rusev, we're finally starting to see more of that face persona within these last couple of weeks, and the fact that you might start to see him finally transition into the face that I know the fans want to see. I know all three of us want to see. Finally, like, this is a guy that you push to be a face, and this might be the pay-per-view to do it. Aiden English finally does something right. They beat heel Andrade and Zelina at SummerSlam. And then Aiden and Rusev finally hug it out. We all of what was forgiven within these last weeks, but knowing WWE, that's not going to happen. I think what you said, you can't keep a guy like Almas, who I think is he's going to be a future WWE champion in my opinion. It's just he's just too good. He's a great wrestler, and I'm really waiting for him to push for AJ Styles. But I mean, obviously Samoa Joe's in the way. We'll talk about that later. I'm also going Andrade. I just think you're right. The hype train with him is just going to be too big to pass up. So. And now we go into the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the B Team, who we never thought we'd even hold those Tag Team Championships a few months ago. It just seemed ridiculous. And they're Raw Tag Team Champions, and they're probably going to be fighting Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy.
Maybe the Revival. I don't know. It's up in the air right now.
It's up in the air, but let's assume Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. What do you got, Scott? Let's start with you.
You see, I really love that the WWE is really pulling the meme train on everybody. They're really trying to get onto that internet culture and really show that the delete movement was a real thing and that the yes and no movements were real things. And now they're trying to get on the Believe and Axelmania train, getting again with the B Team. Of course, we all thought that the B Team was a joke and that they were going to be another squash matches, like just get killed every single week, but they're really showing a lot of promise, and the crowd's behind them fully. I never in a million years would have thought that Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel would be so behind, like so much backed from the fans. It definitely helps to have the Revival to really screw them up and be the full heels that we need in this kind of three-team trifecta over here. Having the anti-heroes of Bray and Matt Hardy to kind of offset the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the three-team dynamic is really going to come out. They're all excellent wrestlers, all talented, and it's going to be a really cool match.
Yeah, when I think of the B Team, it's just like the two guys, they've been all around WWE. Bo Dallas was the first NXT champion, I think, actually.
Yeah,
Bo Dallas was not the first.
It was the second, right?
It was Seth Rollins.
Seth
He was
Rollins.
third. No, I think he was third to Big E because it was Seth Rollins, Big E, and I think Bo Dallas.
And then Bo Dallas was the third.
What you saying, though? Bo Dallas is still champ. That's crazy. But anyway,
son of Erwin R. Shyster.
And then Axelmania. I don't know. Like these guys have been around for a while, and they just haven't really done much. It kind of reminds me of like Zack Ryder a bit. How Zack Ryder was always around. He didn't really do much. And then you slap a U.S. title on him. You give him a WrestleMania ladder match win for the IC title, and now you got the B Team. It lasted a day. But you know what? It's still his moment. But I actually think in this match, whoever, if a triple threat or singles match, tag team match, I think the B Team's actually going to come out on top. They just won the belts a month ago, even though they're not like big names, the crowd is somewhat behind them, and they're not going to throw the titles right back on Bray and Matt, and not really big on the Revival personally. And I kind of find the whole B Team thing pretty funny. I find it entertaining, so I'm gonna stick with the B Team winning.
I mean, I'm looking at this from a different perspective of the fact that as good as Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy have been over the last couple of, like, right when WrestleMania, I was like, oh, this is genius, they're finally making Bray Wyatt relevant again by teaming him up with Matt Hardy, and it was like a yin-yang kind of thing of, you have the darkness and then Matt Hardy who's the light, and they finally team up together, and it was great. It really was fun to see, but we knew it wasn't going to last for that long, and that this is really was the beginning of the end. Was when the B team won the tag team championships. Extreme Rules, was it? Yes. So.
Yeah.
And with all this speculation of Matt Hardy on social media, pretending like he himself is being deleted, or thanking all of his fans for a wonderful journey, really makes me feel like Matt Hardy is leaning towards retirement, and that'll finally put Bray Wyatt back in his singles, back in those singles matches, and back doing what he does. So, I mean, I'm going to be leaning towards the B team too because, the B team gets done with Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. And then, you know what? Maybe they do move on to the Revival, who have been picking up a lot of steam after being irrelevant for months on end. They pick up steam, winning matches. A huge couple wins against Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley that we never thought would actually happen. So it'll be interesting. And then obviously in the corner of my eye, I just look and I see the Authors of Pain, who are my favorite, besides Undisputed Era. That is my favorite tag team in all of wrestling right now. So, I mean, we'll see where it's going. I know, Scott, you wanted to add on to that thought?
Well, definitely, I love the Authors of Pain as well, but it's going to be definitely difficult to see how the Revival pan out. I don't know if everybody has as deep of a memory as some of us do, but the Revival story kind of sounds like Gallows and Anderson. At first, they were kind of getting squashed once in a while. They were winning some and losing some and kind of looking a little weak for a little while, and they disappeared. And then they came back, and they just started beating everybody up real good and winning matches and getting some momentum, getting some steam. And they were written to become champions at some point. It's a really cool sight to see, and hopefully the Revival, they are very talented. They're a very good slobber knocker tag team kind of thing that you haven't seen since probably the Attitude Era. I haven't really seen people that hit that hard in a tag team in a long time. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. And the whole thing with Matt Hardy, that's going to be very interesting to see how his situation pans out, because I don't know how that's going to affect matches later in the night. And I know you guys understand what I mean by that. So we're going to have to see what goes on with that whole story.
Who do you have winning this match, Scott?
I feel like the Revival would be a really cool win, but a retention is in the cards. There's no chance that the B team is going to lose it that quickly after 1 month of having the belts.
Yeah, and if they do fight, it'll probably be a pre-show match, and I don't think they'll switch titles on the pre-show.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's a big title. It's not the United States Championship or anything small like that. It's the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
So it definitely seems like it's going to be a retention if it's on the pre-show.
It is a significant title, and so, I mean, I'm going the B team. So, I mean, are we all in
I'm on the B team,
in favor on that? So, I mean, because of the uncertainty, really, of what we're saying, the uncertainty of who actually they're going to fight at SummerSlam, because usually SummerSlam is a pay-per-view. You see every title on the line. That's what it is. So,
it's more about picking the retentions rather than the swaps.
Right. I mean, and it's an uncertainty thing. So, I mean, real quick, Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor. I mean, we've been seeing this. I mean, it's just a way, really, for these two
to get on the show.
To get on the show. I mean, Baron Corbin with the whole Constable thing. It just brings me back to Corporate Kane. It wasn't just a big fan of it. I mean, I was a huge fan of Baron Corbin, and it's been dying down since he lost Money in the Bank. I mean, I was ready. I was ready for a Baron Corbin WWE title run, because he just reminded me of that classic heel, the one that didn't really need people to help him out to win matches. He just did heel tactics,
Oh, you don't like Big Baldy Baron being the middle management of Raw? I feel like that's a pretty decent character for you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, though. He looks better with the hair color.
I mean, it is, but I just think the whole wrestling in suit pants and a dress shirt is terrible.
It is dumb. It makes no sense.
I mean, yes, you want to put a shirt on Baron Corbin because Vince McMahon doesn't like his physique, but I mean,
you don't have to put him in a suit. But this match, even the whole build up to this match, like even the first match at the last pay-per-view, the whole premise was you're big and you're small. Finn Balor's a small guy and Baron Corbin's big, and that's why they hate each other, and that's why they're fighting. And
Baron Corbin loves picking on the small guys. He had a feud with Kalisto, I'm pretty sure. I can't think of. There was another small guy, he was picking on, and I just don't remember who it was. But
there's just not much to go. Like they're two talented guys. Like I think Finn's awesome in the ring, but just character wise, it just boring.
And it's one of those things. You go back. What's the most impressive thing about Finn Balor? Yes, his appearance in the ring, but it's the demon. But that's a thing that he only brings out every once in a while, and you can't really tap into that until you build up to it. So obviously, we're not going to see that at SummerSlam.
It doesn't look like they're going to be writing him to do it ever again. Even it really is a shame. You don't see any glints of that character anymore. You only see the Balor Club, Finn Balor with a big Irish smile on his face, really excited with the beard and everything. You don't see a real character. All you see is Apollo Crews with a little bit more sarcasm. It's really a shame to see with all the potential that Finn has as a character, as a performer.
And that was a guy they put all their eggs in the basket.
He was a number one draft pick.
He was not. No, he wasn't the number one draft. I mean, the first guy off NXT, but they put the first U.S. Universal Championship. They put it on him instead of Seth Rollins. They took the chance with Finn Balor, and obviously one bad buckle bomb, and Finn Balor shouldn't have put his hand there when he should have. I mean, obviously he was trying to brace for it, and you wouldn't have done. But they were ready.
With a busted shoulder.
I mean, he finished it. He's a tough guy, but I mean, you put all your eggs in the basket of him being Universal Champion, and it's amazing how what was that? 2 years ago?
About that,
yeah. 2 years ago, how much?
They've been over it. Brock's been champion for a year and a half, and KO was champion for 9 months.
And Goldberg was champion for 3 weeks.
So,
I mean, that's the most irrelevant title in sports right now, in sports entertainment right now. It's just a joke, but we'll get to that later.
It's almost as bad as the 205 Live Championship, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, the Cruiserweight Championship. But, I mean, at least those guys are trying. I mean, Brock Lesnar shows up, every 2-3 months to defend his title?
It's very generous, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. So,
it depends on if he's trained.
Who do you got?
I think Finn's going to win again, honestly. They're not going to have a guy in a suit beat Finn Balor, I think. I don't know. It's just one of those matches I think could go either way, but I just think they're going to...
I think they are going to have a guy in a suit beat Finn Balor. I'm going Constable Baron Corbin in this one.
You see, this is like picking between rotten fruit and rotten vegetables. Constable Corbin. I'll go off the hip.
We'll go with Constable Corbin because
just because he has a good theme song. That's just the thing. I like his theme song.
I think he's gonna win just because of the fact that he's gonna find some cheap skated way to win, and that's the heel. I mean, with Finn Balor not being really building up too much to it, I don't know. That's the direction that I'm gonna go. Let's go to another title match here, and I mean, we really don't know enough about the Cruiserweight title to really go into. I mean, I don't watch 205 Live. You don't watch 205 Live.
I just know Cedric is phenomenal, but...
And Drew Gulak really isn't a big enough name to really take that belt off Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, I think Cedric would retain anyway, but...
I mean, really, to argue that point, there isn't really anybody that can fill Adrian Neville's shoes. He was an excellent Cruiserweight champion. And I hope everything with him is
a very underrated match at WrestleMania with him and Austin Aries. A fantastic match.
Clinic. It was a wonderful clinic.
Fantastic match.
Even the rest holds were exciting. It was
that was a pre-show match.
Yep.
That
was really good.
Amazing.
Yeah, they made the most of that.
So,
for sure. We'll send that to a no contest. It'll be a double disqualification, double count out. So.
Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak. Yeah, Cedric Alexander will walk out champion.
Yeah, Cedric retains
somehow. Championship match. Let's go Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins next.
Big Drew McIntyre.
And that's really the X factor in this match. But let's go back to an Iron Man match that I was expecting to be the best match of the night. I know you were expecting that to be probably the best match of the night, and they were getting booed.
Iron Man matches in general, though, are just very tough. They're just so long, and you can't go full out for 30 minutes. You got probably two of the most...
I don't know. I mean, I was very impressed with... maybe it was last year or 2 years ago with Sasha Banks and Charlotte. I thought that was very... not really always impressed that much with the women's matches, but that Iron Man match was... it was actually something to watch.
Yeah, I also think the whole part in the middle with Drew McIntyre when he just beat him up and then Dolph got like 3 pins in a minute. That kind of soured the match a bit, but I don't know. I just feel like Iron Man matches in general are tough to sell to.
But I mean, if there was 2 guys I really thought that were really going to tear the house down with an Iron Man match, it was 2 guys like them who are as conditioned and can stay those long matches. Obviously, Seth Rollins was fighting for an hour on Raw in a gauntlet match.
You see, unpopular opinion, I very much enjoyed their Iron Man match. If you watch it on mute, it is excellent. It is a clinic on methodical wrestling and technique at its finest. You take 2 clinicians like these 2, like Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, and you have a wonderful match on your hands. The biggest issue really was the crowd, and that they were fighting the crowd at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Dolph was heckling the crowd, Seth was heckling the crowd, even the commentators were really getting aggravated about it. You could hear it in the background even when their mics weren't on.
Mm-hmm.
It was really a shame to hear the crowd get so salty about the whole match in general, but all in all, I was very excited for the match, and I was happy with the outcome, and overall, all the check marks were ticked for a good match.
Right, and I mean, like that, obviously, I mean, there's just certain guys that are never going to win you over in wrestling, no matter how good they are, no matter how technically sound they are, their character. That's just my way about Dolph Ziggler. I have never, ever liked Dolph Ziggler. I'm not going to like him ever. I don't like the character. I mean, I like the wrestling style. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dolph Ziggler is a technician. He might be one of the best technicians in WWE. He's just not going to win me over, ever. And it's nothing against him. I just don't like him. It's plain and simple.
That seems to be the case. Everybody that I ask when it comes to Dolph Ziggler, they always say either his microphone skills aren't that good, or his character overall isn't that good, or they don't.
I don't like his character. I just don't. But there's no denying that he is a fantastic wrestler. But I'll tell you about a guy I do love. It's Seth Rollins. I mean, if you were talking to me and I was management and you were saying, all right, Roman Reigns is the guy. Nope. You make Seth Rollins that guy, because he just I thought his heel was good when he was with the Authority. But, man, he can do it all, and he is fun to watch. I mean, he does. I mean, even with he really messed up his knee, tore his ACL, MCL, like PCL. It was done. His knee was destroyed. But he's still coming back. He's still doing the top rope maneuvers, jumping off the ropes. I mean, he's got no care in the world, but I mean, that's what you want to see from your guys. I mean, why has AJ Styles been as successful as he can? It's because he's just got guys that have that no regard attitude to what they're doing. They're just trying to win, and that's what Seth Rollins is. But I mean, he's fantastic on the mic. He's great in the ring. I mean, his character's good. I mean, when he would turn face, I was like, oh, how is a face Rollins really going to look to the crowd? But it's been good. It's worked. I mean,
Seth Rollins and right now in all WWE, Seth Rollins is probably my second favorite guy on the entire show. He could do it all. I think the thing about him in the ring is he's always moving. I just feel like he never takes a break. Like his matches don't have those rest holds. They don't have those, all right, let's lay down and just do nothing for about a minute. Like, I feel like he's always running, doing a swing blade, jumping over the ropes, just reversal after reversal. Yeah, it's
the superplex into the Falcon Arrow.
He just does so much, and like you said, he just puts his body on the line, and that's what the fans want to see. They don't want to see people putting each other in headlocks, punching each other in the face from time to time. Like, yeah, you want to see a slobber knocker from time to time, but like Seth could just do it all. He's good on the mic. He's just phenomenal to watch. And Dolph Ziggler as an opponent, honestly, Dolph is a good opponent for him. They're 2 guys that are fairly similar, both very athletic, both tons of stamina. They have exciting moves. I'm more of a Dolph Ziggler fan than you guys are. I'm not saying he's one of my favorites, but I think he's a talented guy. But this match at SummerSlam, it's not going to be a bad match. It's definitely going to be one of the better matches on the card.
Well, it's also got an X factor and it's got a Y factor in this match. What do you think, Scott?
I feel like Drew McIntyre is really going to mess this match up. He's going to aim for that knee that Seth Rollins grabs every single match that he has, and he's going to hit it hard. I don't think it's going to be enough to really change the tide of the match too much. It's seems like something that Seth's going to be able to overcome, but we'll see how that turns out.
All right, predictions.
I think Dolph's going to retain. I don't think they're going to give the belt right back to Seth. I actually hope they move Seth Rollins to bigger and better things and put him in the Universal title run. Like at least give him a contendership. I actually wish Seth was fighting Brock, but of course we can't get what we want.
I wish Bobby Lashley was fighting Brock Lesnar. That's something I really wanted to see.
Yeah, I would just want to see Seth holding that title again, but I just feel like Seth should be moving out of the mid card.
He's a main event
moving up to main event status. So I'm just gonna go with Dolph retaining.
I'm definitely going to agree with Nick when it comes to Seth Rollins' ability as a star. But the thing is with him is that he's going to be a draw whether you have the Universal title on him, whether you have the Cruiserweight title on him. It doesn't matter. You could put the women's belt on him for all he cares, and he's still going to be an excellent draw if you even give him a belt. People just love to come and see him. He's kind of like Andre the Giant in that matter. You see Seth Rollins' name, and he's going to bring people in. So that being said, I think that Seth Rollins is going to win the belt, and Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre are going to get in a feud for the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I feel like it's going to kind of implode on itself because Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre are going to have a little miscommunication, and that's going to plant the seed for a bigger feud down the road.
Well, like you said, Drew McIntyre is the X factor in this, and we're going to see Drew McIntyre get involved with Dolph Ziggler's match and stuff like that. But here's the Y factor. Dean Ambrose is cleared. My prediction is this. They're going to fight. Drew's going to get involved. Ambrose's music is going to hit. It's going to get through to McIntyre. It's going to get through to Dolph Ziggler. Seth Rollins is going to take advantage. He's going to stomp, pin. Ambrose is going to celebrate with him. And then, bam, dirty deeds, middle of the ring, setting up Ambrose to be the heel that they were pushing for him to be with Seth Rollins before he got injured.
An Ambrose heel you're going to look for. He's been an anti-hero for so long, and you're going to make him a full heel.
Imagine him being a heel.
Looking for the heel.
Crazy.
I'm looking for the heel.
You see, I would love to see that as well, but what I would love to see more is another heel Rollins against an anti-hero Dean Ambrose. I feel like they have such an excellent chemistry together, so just flip-flopping that role. I
think that Rollins is done with the heel. I think he's too big over with the crowd. I don't think we're going to see a heel Rollins ever. I don't know. I just don't see it.
CM Punk at his best was a heel.
There is no question that I'm the first guy you can strike on the list about CM Punk. I mean, I'm waiting for that day. That's never going to come ever again because he just got into. He's in a bit of trouble now. Colt Cabana's suing him. But I mean, you don't need to sell me on CM Punk. CM Punk at his best was a heel. I'm just saying, I don't see Rollins going down that path. I think he's too big.
I feel like Rollins is too over as a face to turn him heel.
Especially with like kids and stuff. That's the big thing. Why can't John Cena be a heel ever again? Why can't John Cena be a heel? It's because he's too over with the kids, and I think Seth Rollins is getting to that point.
He's still a heel on Total Bellas. It's fine.
He's a heel in life. He's a heel in life.
He is the heel,
but not on TV.
He's a giant heel.
Not on TV.
Nope.
So, the next match we're going to go, let's do the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Bludgeon Brothers and The New Day. I know you love The New Day.
I love The New Day. I have probably like 3 of their shirts. I have Bootios in my room.
That's 2 stockpiles.
Yeah, it's... I just think they're phenomenal. They're the greatest tag team that I've seen in a long time. They're just phenomenal outside the ring. Just... They keep the same like attitude.
Every one of them can speak.
They change it up from time to time. First it was cereal, now it's pancakes. They're just hilarious. It was
ice cream for a little bit too.
It was ice cream too.
When they were the hosts.
We were hoping for another run of those WWE ice cream bars, but we weren't lucky enough to have that happen.
CM Punk's been pushing for that.
And honestly, just even looking at the ring, they've all improved so much. Kofi is definitely a Hall of Famer. He has so many tag team title wins. It's insane.
And so many memorable moments in the Royal Rumble,
Royal
and different
Rumble,
extreme
ladder
rules,
matches.
Oh yeah, Kofi
stipulations.
Kingston is definitely a Hall of Famer.
And just one guy, Xavier Woods.
A guy that's improved.
He's improved so much
ton.
from when he first came up, and he's
And
great in the mic.
He's the best one on the mic.
Has an awesome YouTube channel.
He does.
Up, down.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
And they're just phenomenal. Like I like the Bludgeon Brothers. I just feel like the New Day have gone too long though without titles. Like yeah, they don't need it. Like they're that good that they've been over for so long. But I would just love to see another New Day reign.
And so would everybody else. Everyone really wants to see them have that title have the titles around their belts again, and do that little round robin that they do with the belts, and have the one person standing out, whether it's Kofi and Xavier, Xavier and Big E, or what have you.
Big E's too good to keep him out of every match.
Hey. That's why they need the belts, so Big E can look at them and then see what he can do. Because they rely on him and they lose the belts without Big E.
I know. And
Just
that might lead to a Big E heel turn against the New Day. That's what I'd love to see.
Big E was a really good heel when he was with Ziggler all those years ago.
Oh yes,
he was a good heel.
They sell too many shirts.
I'm gonna jump on this train too. I'm gonna say, you know what? It's been. I mean, I like the Bludgeon Brothers, but maybe better than other people. I thought Luke Harper versus Bray Wyatt would have made a fantastic WrestleMania match. Luke Harper, a very, very underrated wrestler in the ring.
He's so good in the ring. If only he had the speaking skills to really match it. Oh,
but that's the thing about the Bludgeon Brothers, is that they're so destructive, and they have like this badass persona. I don't know.
Very shallow persona.
But I mean, they don't need to. It's one of those things like you don't need to speak. I mean, Nakamura was one of those guys coming out. I mean, he's blew it for me a little bit, because I think they've been holding him down in the ring.
Oh, he's been so funny. You have to admit that he's been funny.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about that in a bit. But I'm going to jump on the New Day train. I think you're right. I think they're too significant in WWE for them to not have the titles as long as they have. I think SummerSlam changes the complexion of that. It's been over a year or
so, because it's been a long... have they won the title?
Yes, they beat the Usos.
Yeah.
That
I was talking to Pat about that this morning.
Yeah.
And the big thing is, you got to remember, it's going to be another feel-good moment for SummerSlam, and what more of a feel-good moment could you have, other than possibly the main event, which we'll get to later, than having the New Day winning the championships again?
Mm-hmm. So, yes, New Day. It's a new day, yes it is, and it's also... Now it's time to talk about a match that's been 8 years in the making again, and it's Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. I mean, so many words have been exchanged throughout this whole thing. Obviously, it all started with The Miz. That his NXT rookie was Daniel Bryan. Obviously, the Nexus turned on Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan replaces him in that WWE versus Nexus Survivor Series match. And I mean, another significant moment, obviously, was when Miz said, "You know what? You don't want to come back." That whole big promo, talking smack.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great segment, and it just shows you how good the Miz actually is on the mic.
As soon as that promo came through, I jumped on that bandwagon hard, and I've been driving that ever since that Talking Smack episode. I love The Miz. The Miz is excellent. I have come to appreciate his style, his safety, his ability to work in and outside of the ring. He is an excellent person, as we've discussed in the past. He's just such a good overall person for the brand. Not only the brand, but also wrestling as a whole. It's just, you take a heel character and you can break that kayfabe to work with kids every single day and still have the energy to be on the road. And to have this excellent, long-building feud with somebody as good as Daniel Bryan, the indie hero, it is going to be a hell of a match, and I am so excited for this.
And just talking about The Miz, it's crazy to think about like when he started over a decade ago. He was just a reality TV show guy, and in my opinion, he won the WWE title way too early. If he was as popular as he is now back then, it would be a different thing. But just the way he is now, he's 10 times better on the mic and 30 times better in the ring than when he was WWE champion. But the Miz is just phenomenal. I love everything about him. His promos are definitely the best in WWE right now. He's hilarious. And what a better opponent to have than Daniel Bryan. And just this feud, like we said, has been boiling up for years. with Bryan being hurt, the Miz mocking him. The Miz has been using Daniel Bryan's moves now for years now, doing like the yes kicks or Miz kicks, whatever he calls them. This is just going to be a phenomenal match. This is probably the one match I'm looking forward to the most this show. And there's not even a title on the line. That just shows how when WWE builds a feud the right way, they have the right storyline, they have the two right guys going at it against each other, how invested fans could be, and you don't even need a title on
Invested.
it. So.
I mean, like you said, it's just it's been building, and it's been building. Obviously, Daniel Bryan comes back. They were looking for somebody to. I mean, this was eventually obviously going to happen after the whole Talking Smack segment. Daniel Bryan comes back WrestleMania, and trying to figure out what to do with Daniel Bryan. Obviously, you put him with the Miz because this has been something that's been brewing for a while, and this is in what place to have it than at SummerSlam. I mean, it's a feud that we've been wanting to see, but I don't know if it's WrestleMania. I don't think it's WrestleMania worthy, kind of. But I mean, SummerSlam, I think it was a great place for this match to happen.
I mean, I could argue that it would be WrestleMania worthy if the IC title was on the line. That was my original prediction, my hope for it. But it's also excellent to see just to have no title in the way, kind of messing things up and creating unnecessary tension when the feud is what you're looking for, that boiling hate that they have for each other.
Absolutely. So, what do you got?
It's tough. I love The Miz. I would love to see him win. But just going against Daniel Bryan, his first SummerSlam back, The Miz has just done so much to Bryan, just like verbally abusing him for all those years of him being hurt. And I actually like the whole Miz fighting without Maurice. Like, he doesn't need someone to help him win and interfere. But Daniel Bryan's just too good. And in a one-on-one match, you got to give him his moment. This is his first really big match since he's been hurt. Because I don't count the whole big Cass feud. That was a joke. But I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan. He's going to pull this one out. It's going to be a phenomenal match. Miz is probably going to pull out a skull-crushing finale, try to shock the fans, but I think Daniel Bryan just has too much heart to lose this one.
You see, if I had this my way, it would be going the New Japan route, and they would have a no contest of some sort where neither of them would win, and there would still be tension to build, and it would still be a fantastic match. Probably get 6 stars on the Meltzer scale if everybody knows what that is. But if we are going to be picking a winner, it seems like Daniel Bryan is the way to go. If this is the only match that they have between the two of them, which I highly doubt, it would make sense to have a SummerSlam win, another feel-good moment for Daniel Bryan, especially with the crowd that he has behind him and just the momentum that he's had for all these months that he's been back. And, of course, with Team Hell No in the past, it would make sense for him to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, obviously, Daniel Bryan is one of, if not the biggest star, really, in WWE right now. I mean, and you've just been trying to nitpicking all of this, all of what you're trying to do with him. Obviously, at some point, he's going to be back in that world title picture, fighting for the WWE title, or, if he happens to go to Raw for the Universal title. But I think that just trying to work him back into this, you need to build the momentum. Obviously, Kane was... him and Kane, I thought were going to win tag team gold, but then they lost, and I was like, oh, how the heck did they lose? And obviously Kane becomes mayor 2 weeks later or something like that, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because he can't be wrestling when he's the mayor of the town. So it's just a way of trying to get Daniel Bryan back into the swing of things and having him fight, and no better person to put him over than obviously the guy that's been mocking him for years.
However, it would make me very happy to watch The Miz win. That would just be
totally, yeah, I mean, I would not be. It would not be upsetting to me if The Miz pulls out a win.
I just personally think Bryan's going to win because I could see him being the next WWE Championship contender.
Oh, absolutely.
Just looking at the guys around, are they gonna go back to Orton? I don't think so. Orton's probably gonna do U.S. title. But I just feel like Daniel Bryan's probably that guy that's next in line. Unless they go Almas's way, but I think it might be too early for that. So I think Bryan probably be the next guy in line for that title shot.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset with it. I'm just saying it is too early.
No matter what, it's definitely going to be a match between 2 future Hall of Famers, and it's going to be a treat.
Oh, certainly.
Let's stay on SmackDown. And let's go to the triple threat women's match. Carmella obviously defending her title, which I thought it was going to be against Becky Lynch. But Charlotte comes back, and obviously Charlotte's too significant of a woman. I mean, she's the best women's wrestler in WWE. I don't think you
Definitely.
two will.
No,
I
definitely.
would not dispute that with me. She's just an athlete. So Carmella's got her hands full, but I think that this plays a little bit better in her favor with the fact that, you know what, yes, if you look at it from the standpoint of, you got two great women's wrestlers, obviously Charlotte and Becky Lynch, I think are two very outstanding women's competitors. I mean, Charlotte obviously has the upper hand on Becky. She just does things in the ring that no woman
Definitely.
you just don't see anymore, or ever, honestly. I mean, yes, there's been high-flying women like Lita who
not with as much grace as Charlotte
Yeah.
has. She just has so much nuance to what she does.
She just has strength and speed. She could throw the other girls around. She flies through the air.
she could beat a few guys in the men's division.
She's good. She fights better than a lot of guys, honestly. And she's big. She's like maybe 5'9" or so for a woman.
She's like 5'11", I
She
thought.
is
She's
that
close
tall?
to
Yeah.
6 foot.
Yeah, she's
And
tall.
just throwing it out there, Vince McMahon, if you're ever listening to this, book Charlotte Flair versus Seth Rollins intergender match. Money. Easy money.
In New Japan.
Oh, yeah. New Japan. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, I mean, I think this match can go any which way, honestly. I think this match can go any which way.
The only person I don't think will win is Charlotte.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain your reasoning behind that.
I feel like, for Becky's purposes, she hasn't had a title since she was the first SmackDown Women's Champion, which has been like 2 years now or so. I just feel like it was her time, and I feel like they kind of threw Charlotte into that match because she was too good not to be on the show. I think maybe with her injury they weren't sure at first, but she's so good. They're like, all right, we got to get her in SummerSlam. We'll just throw her in this match. I don't think she's going to win. I honestly agree with you, too, what you said with Carmella, that the triple threat actually helps her out, because if Carmella's facing Becky Lynch in a one-on-one match, or if she's facing Charlotte in a one-on-one match, in a fair fight, she has no chance of winning. But in a triple threat match, maybe she can find a little hole somewhere, get a roll-up. Maybe someone does a finisher to someone else, and Carmella tosses the other one out of the ring, gets a cheap pin. But I don't know. I don't think Charlotte just came back, and I feel like it's been too long for Becky not to have a title. I think Becky's going to come out on top. That's my opinion. I also think Carmella's reign, it hasn't been anything great. Like, yeah, I like her on the mic. I think she's entertaining. Her voice is a little annoying from time to time. She does some dumb things. Just, she's not that great of a wrestler. She's not that good in the ring. And Becky, I think she's one of the best in-ring competitors for the women's side.
You see, Nick, I have to totally disagree with you. There is no chance that there is going to be a winner other than Carmella. You have to remember how WWE has been booking her. She beat Charlotte clean on multiple occasions. She's beaten Becky clean on multiple occasions, even without James Ellsworth in the back, chinless wonder, just bugging about and messing everything up. You have to think about it from their perspective. There's been too many feel-good moments in this night, and if it's going to be Daniel Bryan winning or Becky Lynch winning, Carmella has to win. They have to keep building this Brock Lesnar level heat of just hatred for this woman who, as Nick said, isn't that talented, is not that good on the mic, but she draws this heat because you know that she's this prissy girl that obviously doesn't deserve the belt, as we fans like to say. So there's no chance in hell that anybody other than Carmella is leaving with that belt.
So you got Becky, you got Carmella.
Becky, yes.
Carmella.
If it was just Carmella versus Becky Lynch, I would say Becky was going to walk away with this at SummerSlam and be champion. But you add Charlotte to that list, and it just plays so much, like I said, into Carmella's favor. I'm thinking that obviously they're going to team up on Carmella first, and then they're going to fight it out, and someone's going to hit somebody with something, or natural selection. She's going to go to pin Becky. Carmella's going to stomp her in the back of the head, throw her out of the ring, pin her, and retain.
You know the formula pretty well there, Justin, huh?
It's just from years of watching WWE. You really know what to expect, and obviously it's not NXT. I mean, I'm waiting for Triple H to get the call up to just run WWE because it'd be so much better. I mean, obviously NXT, you can think one way and they'll throw an absolute curveball the other way. I mean, I thought for
I
sure
did not
it was
think
gonna...
Ciampa was winning the pay-per-view.
No, but that's the excitement about wrestling. You just don't know, and Gargano comes out and you're like, oh my gosh, he hit him with the belt. Oh my gosh, Ciampa's going to win. Oh my gosh, he did it. Like, it's just one of those moments. But, like, you know, it's just WWE is so predictable.
Like, I do agree with the triple threat. Like, I do think the triple threat does certainly help Carmella. I just think it's been... Just Becky has been tireless.
I don't know.
So
when was the
long.
last time? And I'm not trying to crap on WWE. I still will watch it every chance I get because it's still exciting. It's like a TV show to me. I have to watch it weekly to see what happens. I mean, when was the last time? And I'm not talking about NXT. When was the last time we saw something we were like, holy crap, we didn't see that coming?
Lesnar beating Undertaker. That is the last time that I've ever seen anything like
Well,
that.
I actually Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
WrestleMania, yeah. I did not think Reigns had any chance
wow.
to lose it. That threw me off, too.
No,
They built it up for 4 years for Reigns to be the guy, and then he loses.
You see, I knew that Brock was going to win because Brock wouldn't lay down for Roman for anything less than like half a billion dollars, really, at that point.
$500 million. Jeez.
And you gotta think he was still on sabbatical with the UFC.
Well, we'll see when we get to that match.
Well,
later
if that
on,
man goes into a match with the Universal title into UFC to fight Daniel Cormier, I might have to root for DC.
Don't you dare bring MMA into this. I will school the hell out of you. Don't you dare, please.
Away from MMA, we're gonna go to the United States title match, and I mean, there's not really much to talk about the tension between Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy because it's literally just been Jeff Hardy and the Viper returning, which, you know, finally doesn't make Randy Orton boring anymore.
I was at that SmackDown when Randy Orton was just fingering Jeff Hardy's ear. It was a gruesome sight. I was just looking at everyone around in the stadium. Everyone was just had their hands over their mouth, and they're like, "What's going on?" Like, it actually looked like Jeff's ear was gonna like just rip. It was awful to see, but just this whole.
But that's what makes Randy Orton good. That's what made his heel persona good, you know?
Him punting people in the face.
Randy Orton ever.
But it is. I mean, look how good that build-up to WrestleMania 25 was. It was fantastic, you know? He almost gets fired, but he punts Mr. McMahon in the head. Then he punts Shane. Then he RKO's Stephanie McMahon.
And then kisses her.
Yeah.
That was after the DDT.
Yes. Touche.
And then he hits Triple H in the side of the head with a sledgehammer. Like, he was about to wind up and hit him. Like, that's the Randy Orton we love to see. But the thing is that he's going to have an impact on this match. But the thing is that it's not about Randy Orton and as much as we can talk about him. It's about Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think that this could go either way, too. I mean, I don't think that, you know what, you put Shinsuke, you put the belt on him. I don't know if he's going to lose it anytime soon because, you know, you wasted him for 4 months, like thinking, oh, he's going to be WWE champion. Nope. So, I mean, you got to I think he looks good with a belt on him. I mean, that's my opinion of it. So, I mean, I don't see Jeff Hardy winning this. So, I'm actually going to go Shinsuke because I think Randy Orton's going to screw him.
That WWE... the title with AJ and Shinsuke. Shinsuke lost so much momentum. He just lost after loss and all the no decisions, and it was just killing him. He needed a quick win, and the U.S. title was certainly it. There's 0% chance in my mind that Shinsuke drops this title. He's going to beat Jeff Hardy. I hope Shinsuke drops the whole low blow thing because it's kind of been overplayed. He was doing it on SmackDown still, and he needs to stop. He just needs to go back to his strong style, kicking people in the face, doing his thing. And Randy Orton may play a factor in this match. I'm not really sure on that, but one thing's for sure that Shinsuke is going to walk out champion.
You see, I've been kind of a fan of Shinsuke knock a ball bag. It's been really cool to watch him kind of find different methods of injuring the male genitalia. But I have to say, there is no chance that Shinsuke is going to lose. I keep saying no chance, but Shinsuke has to win. There's no reason for him to lose the belt. Jeff Hardy is a draw without the belt. Randy Orton is a draw without the belt. And I feel like Randy Orton I think he's going to put Jeff Hardy on the shelf for a little while, and then he's going to swoop in and then beat Nakamura for the belt. And then they're going to start a heel versus heel feud, which would be very nice to see. And maybe we'll see another face Nakamura. Maybe he'll be able to redeem himself after all this silliness with AJ Styles.
And all this ball bagging, like you said.
I do love his promos that he speaks half English and his like 2-word sentences. It's actually, I think it's
Well, like
hilarious.
you said, it's a guy that
But-
doesn't really need to be able to speak that much. He just does what he does in the ring, and that's what makes him good.
Nakamura, in my opinion, is the first successful heel, the first successful foreign heel since probably the Iron Sheik, or
Wow.
maybe Muhammad Hassan, because he just had a natural heat from what his character was.
Yeah.
But-
At the time,
wow.
But I feel like he has been an excellent foreign heel, and he's really fitting the role well. I mean, you get people,
Well, we're talking foreign, like overseas.
Yeah, of
not
course.
obviously foreign Canada. We can
No,
name a bunch
yeah,
of
no.
those.
Well, you gotta
Well,
think
heels.
naturally, Canadian heels have been a staple in
Oh, yeah.
WWE
Oh
for
yeah,
decades.
I mean, you think about Canadian heels: Edge, Chris Jericho,
Christian for a little while, too.
Christian,
Yeah,
Kevin Owens.
Sami Zayn now.
Sami
Yeah,
Zayn.
you gotta think. A lot of those guys that do come from overseas, most of them are faces for the most part. They don't really give them that heel opportunity, but Shinsuke's ran with it, and I actually really like heel Shinsuke, so I hope they keep going with it. But
And his song is so much better.
I love
Let's
it.
go
much
from
better.
one person that looks pretty good with a belt on to a woman that looks really good with a belt on her, but is in serious jeopardy. Let's talk about Alexa Bliss because she is defending against Hot Ronda. Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Scott can't say more enough about how much he dislikes Ronda Rousey.
I have never liked Ronda Rousey, even when she was in Strikeforce, so my opinion is very biased, just as a forewarning.
Yes. So, I mean, the thing is that she is such a significant household name. I mean, it's about, and that's what it is about WWE. I mean, why? I mean, you look at the guys that hold the major championships right now. I mean, how many of them are just WWE names? Brock Lesnar. He's champion because he's a significant name. Alexa, or not? Well, you got to put it on Ronda Rousey, I think, because she's a significant name. AJ Styles,
Been around the
because it's
world.
not just a WWE thing. He's been fantastic in every single wrestling promotion.
New Japan, TNA, Ring of Honor, everywhere.
You can name it.
Even
anywhere.
Shinsuke's around the world too. So
Everglades Backyard Wrestling, I'm sure he's been everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's just a matter of time. I mean, and this seems to be the stage. Obviously, the build up with Alexa Bliss keeps screwing Natalia and all this. But I mean, I wanted to wait a little bit more, have Ronda compete a little bit more on Raw, start beating a little bit more people. Because I mean, the thing about Ronda is the fact that, you know what, she can beat up on the heel. But what happens when she faces Sasha Banks? What happens when she faces a Bayley? What happens if she goes against Ember Moon, who is has got to be my favorite competitor on. I think, in my opinion, it goes Charlotte in the ring, then Ember Moon is very, very impressive in the ring. But I think it's just, but I mean, you need a champion like Ronda Rousey to just make it. I don't know. I wouldn't say legitimate, but that's the woman you're trying to buy.
yeah, they've been promoting Ronda for a long
Sell, I guess.
Yeah, they've been promoting her for a very long time now, and just when you bring up girls like Sasha and Bayley, I could very well see them turning Ronda heel. Just her go total badass.
No
way.
way.
I can
no way. They're gonna
when you
turn
have those
Ronda
UFC guys,
heel.
I don't know. I just feel like you want them to be intimidating. You don't want them to be.
I
all
know you want them
smiley
to
and
be
hugging.
intimidating, but that's the thing about Ronda Rousey that makes her a decent character in WWE is that she smiles, but if somebody pisses her off, she's gonna snap. And she's not always, but that shows who she is, and that's what the WWE is trying to promote. They're trying to promote the real Ronda Rousey.
I just feel like the whole snapping thing is a very heelish characteristic, and I don't know if they could.
Yeah,
keep
but it's
her.
also plays to the MMA in her. Like, she's not a woman that's going to be intimidated. She's not a woman that's going to take crap from anybody. And that's the thing is that, you know what? They mess with her, they're trying to fight back. Ronda Rousey represents the fact that she is such a significant fighter, obviously. I mean, not in her last 2 UFC matches. She got destroyed. But she represents, I feel like, what WWE is trying to exemplify when it comes to the women's division. Ronda Rousey, you know, it's nice to be all smiley and good, and women are supposed to be happy and stuff like that. But when somebody gets in their business, they stand up for themselves and they fight. And that's what Ronda Rousey's portraying right now, and that's what they're trying to portray her as. So, I mean, and to fight and to make her win against a person as significant as Alexa Bliss, who has been a heel champion on multiple occasions and has been the best women's champion since she got the belt, even better than Charlotte.
She's
just been
You could go first, Scott.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think she has double the amount of days with the belt as Charlotte has.
I think
Like
she's got
double
more.
or triple.
Yeah.
Like double or triple, somewhere around there.
I wouldn't say it's triple because
like accumulated
Charlotte did have a couple of long title reigns.
It's
but
very significant.
Alexa had a title reign for 240 days, 250 days once.
For one reign, but
Yeah,
she's
one
had
reign,
multiple really long
she's
reigns.
a 5-time champion.
Yep.
And I think Charlotte's 6.
Yep, and really it plays to Alexa Bliss's character. Yeah, sure, she's 5 foot tall. Sure, she's no more than 80 pounds soaking wet. But just her ability on the mic and her ability to portray just her character and play that mean girl high schooler that every person knows about and has that in the back of their head when they look at her. It really plays well to her ability as a champion. Even as just a heel without the belt. Like all those vignettes when she was going up against Nia Jax about her being a bully, those were fantastic, and I'm sure a lot of kids resonated with those vignettes and how fake that she was. It's really going to be exciting to see this match, and I really hope that Alexa Bliss wins.
I'm throwing Alexa Bliss easily 100% my favorite WWE female wrestler. She's just in the ring. She's not the best. No, Charlotte's better, Becky's better, Sasha's better, but just as cutting promos on the mic, it's not even close. She is she's god tier compared to all the other females cutting promos. They're not even close. Like she just cuts the best promos as a female. Like in the ring, she's good. Her finishers aren't anything special. She just has a DDT, and the Twisted Bliss is pretty cool, but like it's nothing great. But
it's not the Eclipse, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
that match is
just
amazing.
that's why she's been champion though. It just goes back to showing WWE invests their championships in good characters. She's not the best in the ring, but she has a phenomenal character, so she's a 5-time champion. So,
you see, I have to argue with you. I actually think that Alexa Bliss is almost on par with Charlotte and better than Bayley, better than Sasha Banks. Because think about this. How many times has Alexa missed a week because she was hurt? How many times
never hurt?
How many times has she hurt anybody? She is the female equivalent to The Miz in that she is safe, she's fun to watch, and she's an excellent storyteller. You're not going to get that with somebody like Sasha.
Loved the Braun Strowman.
Great
very
mixed tag,
fantastic.
Hilarious. But if you take somebody like Sasha Banks, for example, which I know you guys both enjoy, I'm not a personal fan, because she is so dangerous in the ring. What she did to Paige, retiring her, injuring her back so bad that she can't come back to the ring. That was despicable, disgusting, and I'm really just horrified at that whole ordeal. Because Paige was picking up a lot of heat.
Yeah.
A lot of heat with
Absolution,
Mandy Rose and I can't remember
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville. Sorry, she's not as memorable as say Shayna Baszler. But really, she was picking up a lot of heat, and they were moving in an excellent direction. And then Sasha had to hurt her at a house show because she's not a safe wrestler.
Yeah.
And I'm going to argue it just as much as anybody else. The only reason why she's there is because of the star power in her family, and that's all I have to say about that. But take somebody like Bayley, who has the wrestling ability, but doesn't exactly have the moveset, doesn't have the character anymore, doesn't have the momentum. She lost a lot since she came up from NXT. Like, kids aren't saying her name anymore. They're not screaming about getting her headbands or anything like that. They're excited about Charlotte. They're excited about Ronda Rousey. They don't really care about, the hugger anymore.
Right.
Like, Bayley either needs to turn heel against Sasha and get that train rolling.
Heel.
Or just get her back down to NXT.
I actually heard WWE is looking into a women's tag team title, and they may be going Sasha and Bayley.
That would be...
That would make sense. That would be
make sense.
That would be the best move for both of them right now.
But I mean, you're also seeing a lot more of women tagging up. Obviously, you have Sasha and Bayley. You have Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. You have the Riot Squad.
The whole Riot Squad. Also, you can have them do a round robin.
I mean, you have Team Kick in NXT. It's Dakota Kai and
You got the Iconics.
Simon Edge, the Iconics. I
There's a
mean,
lot of
women's
women
tag
tag
teams
teams.
are coming a little bit more
That's-
significant. I
that's
think they
why-
are trying to build that up a little bit more. So, I mean, if you're going to put two people on Sasha and the women's tag team title belts, it's going to be those two. But let's get back on track. Alexa Bliss, Ronda Rousey, who do you got?
I love Alexa. She's amazing, but they're not going to have Ronda lose 2 title matches. Well, she didn't lose the first one. It was disqualification, but
And the cash-in.
It's the cash-in. It's just a huge pay-per-view moment. They've been building up Ronda so much that she's this huge powerhouse, and they always have Alexa trying to be like this bully character, even though I think she's the one being bullied, but that's just my personal bias.
Mm-hmm.
Ronda's going to win. She's going to get her in the armbar. She's going to tap. Unless Alexa pulls that whole broken arm thing that she did that one year. Maybe like somehow, I don't know how she'll pull it off, but I think my gut's telling me Ronda's going to win.
I mean, I said my piece before. It's definitely going to be Ronda Rousey. I just think that the fact that, you know what, SummerSlam's a good place for her to win halfway through. I mean, you're not going to hold her off for too much, and she's just, like I said, she's too significant of a name to not put a belt on her for WWE to say, you know what, we're not going to put a belt on her.
I'm going to say that Ronda Rousey's going to win. However, Alexa Bliss is going to retain.
Oh, a disqualification. I could see that.
I think Natalya is going to get in Ronda Rousey's face and mess up the match for her.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Natalya was an excellent heel, except for that whole farting
Yeah, that was dumb.
thing a bunch of years ago. But Natalya has always been and always will be a very good heel. Her whole face run and looking weak and having Ronda saved for the day for her, it seems like it's kind of ruining her ability to be a character and be a viable threat.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to go about it is to beat her savior and beat her up. And I feel like that will be an excellent feud to have in the future, since Natalya is such a good worker.
Like that angle.
I was going to say, I love that idea.
I like that idea.
I love it because it keeps the belt on Alexa. But
Well,
you got to think, it keeps the belt on Alexa. You have an experienced, wonderful, heart family worker like Natalya working with the inexperienced but also very MMA talented and oriented Ronda Rousey. And you can have her work on her mic skills. You can have her work on her in-ring work, her bumps, her etc., 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 making her safer overall and making her a much
don't
better
know
character for
how
WrestleMania
much
when she will win the belt, guaranteed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, who knows how much, like, this is actually going to be a good match between her and Alexa.
I honestly don't think it'll be that
different
good because
polar
they don't
matches.
mesh well.
So
I don't think they will.
we got 2 matches left, and they are obviously the 2 most significant matches, obviously. The WWE Championship
we got
match.
3 matches.
Did we have 3 matches?
Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman.
Oh, yes. Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman. Thank you
Monster
for...
in the Bank stipulation match.
And,
lovely.
I mean, this has pretty much just been a show of strength from Braun Strowman this entire feud. I mean, he knocks him off the stage through the dumps in the porta potty, and he throws him off the cage. But I mean, I love Braun Strowman. I really do. I think he's the best. I think he really is. I think he might be the best thing WWE has because of the fact that, you know, he's so big, he's so athletic. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his moveset. I think that he can do a lot more than WWE is saying. I mean, the running power slam seems too simple for him to be as good as he is. The reverse choke slam, if he had that.
Missed that choke slam so much. It was so cool to watch.
But I mean, my thing, and I'm going to pretty much give you my prediction right here, is the fact that I think that Braun Strowman can win, but I think that there's just too funny that, you know what, they're putting the Money in the Bank contract on the line. I think he's going to lose it to Kevin Owens because I think Sami Zayn's going to get involved. That's going to lead to a whole ordeal, and that's going to upset me because, you know, I want Braun Strowman to be Universal Champion.
I want to see Braun Strowman being Universal Champion as well. I think he's phenomenal. He is... Besides Rusev Day, well, Rusev Day's dying down a bit, but he is also the hottest thing that they got. Well, he's the hottest thing on Raw, definitely.
I mean, look at what he's been able to do within this year. He wins the Greatest Royal Rumble. He wins Money in the Bank. I mean, the guy has been steamrolling since WrestleMania.
They should have gave. I honestly think they should have given him the Universal title a while back when he had that match with Brock. I don't remember what pay-per-view it was. It was a while
I'm
ago.
telling you, there's only 2 guys I think are legitimate enough to take that belt away from him.
But
well, 3.
It's like what you said though. Just
Lashley, Strowman, and Reigns.
Yeah, but like even Lashley, he's not really showing a lot of promise right now with his promos. But that's just because of the crowd. Please continue, Nick.
Yeah, just going back to the match, I just think too much has not gone in Kevin Owens' way. He's gonna find a way to win this match as well. I feel like Kevin Owens with a briefcase. I said this during Money Bank. Kevin Owens with a briefcase would be hilarious. It'd be awesome to see. I just think Braun Strowman doesn't need the briefcase.
And that's what I was just gonna say.
I think Braun Strowman's not I'm going to weasel in there, cash in, do a power slam, and win. Braun Strowman, when he wins the title, I think they're just going to want him to flat out just dominate whoever's that champion. And, Kevin Owens, I don't know if it's going to be because of Sami Zayn. I think Kevin Owens might just find a way, maybe a surprise.
But that's the thing. I don't think that Braun Strowman is a guy that, you know what, obviously, yeah, he's not going to win clean, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he hits him with a foreign object while the ref isn't looking or something like that. But, like, I don't see a way where Kevin Owens, as good as he is, I do like Kevin Owens. I think he's a great heel not when Jericho was helping him win every match, but I just don't see a way where he can win without the help of somebody else. Because I mean, even a roll up, like you can't roll up Braun Strowman. It's just not realistic.
Yeah, he's not going to throw him up in the air and powerbomb him.
One guy has been able to really take it to Braun Strowman, I feel like, and it wasn't even Brock Lesnar. It was Roman Reigns has been really the only guy that's been able to take the fight to Braun.
That's just because of how it was written. There is no reason for Roman to win that kind of matchup, though.
Yeah.
It's undisputed, just invincible Roman Reigns.
So, Scott, do we think we're the only one that hasn't shown your opinion? What do you think?
I love Braun Strowman. You both know that I love Braun Strowman. Get these hands movement, running strong. I don't see a reason for him to have the belt.
You mean the briefcase?
Touche.
Yeah, it's all good.
No, you have to think about it. The briefcase has become the Universal Championship. We see it every week now, and it has a lot more value over the Universal Championship.
At this point,
we're going to talk about the Universal Championship
really,
after.
That belt has been absent for how long? Well, how long has Brock Lesnar been in the business? Well, not the business, but his most recent run. You have to think about that. Like, the Universal title has been completely nullified in this whole time.
And that's supposed to be your best championship, honestly.
People are now more excited about the briefcase, which is getting the belt, over the belt itself. It's hysterical. So, I think that Sami Zayn is definitely going to get involved. And something silly is going to happen where Kevin Owens wins. There's no reason for Braun Strowman to have the briefcase. Of course, the Monster in the Bank thing it's funny, it's cool, it's a cool little thing to add to Braun Strowman's repertoire. But just like the Greatest Royal Rumble, it's just going to be wiped away. It's going to be wiped away and thrown out, and then Kevin Owens is going to have another chance to win the belt. It'll be very funny.
I'm a huge fan of Kevin Owens. I love him on the mic. I like him in the ring. I actually like the whole Chris Jericho Festival of Friendship. I think Kevin Owens should be more of a beatdown guy because he does have that potential. We've seen him have great matches when he started his career with John Cena. He beat Cena clean, so I don't know why they can't have him beat other people clean. I don't know why he needed Jericho, but I would love to see a Kevin Owens Universal title run, and I think we're going to see it soon.
Yeah, getting back to the fight Owens fight motif, it was just so fun to watch him beat Cena clean and have that whole feud where he was just beating the hell out of this man. This grown man that we've all admired for his physique and his size and strength and just pure feats of power over the last, 12 years?
Yeah.
He's been in the WWE now.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to watch, and it would be nice to see Kevin Owens win and kind of have that persona again where he can be a viable fighting next champion, prospective champion. But he's going to be another chicken-S heel and then have Sami Zayn help him out in the end. So, Kevin Owens.
All right, now we only have 2 matches left, and we'll start obviously with the WWE Championship. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. This is a match I think everyone saw was eventually going to come into fruition, especially when Samoa Joe got moved over to SmackDown. Guys that have fought against each other on TNA, I know that for a fact. 2 really significant guys, and obviously AJ Styles has been WWE Champion for a while now. And it's just a matter of who can take the belt off of AJ Styles. I mean, if there's one guy in this business who I said, you know what, he can hold the championship for a while, and it's still prestigious. It's still exciting to watch. It's AJ Styles. I mean, as much as it's like, oh, I want a Rusev to win the WWE Championship. Oh, I wanted Shinsuke to see he can win. I'm not mad ever with a Styles retain because he's just that damn good. I mean, he's the guy that everyone's like, oh, dream match. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Shawn Michaels is going to come back, but only if he fights AJ Styles. I mean, I was talking about this with my mother the other day. The fact that she's like, who's AJ Styles? I said, he's the guy everybody wants to fight because he's just that damn good. But the thing is, he might have finally met his match because a guy like Samoa Joe as WWE champion excites me.
Yeah, man. Samoa Joe, I'm not a huge Samoa Joe fan, but he has great talent in the ring.
So
his finishers, I like the whole they don't tap out, they just pass out.
The Coquina Clutch is one of the best submission moves they got right now.
It's just a rear naked, but he just does it so well and it works out.
Yeah, I like the way they played
that move was good enough that he made Brock Lesnar
woozy.
fall asleep on the stage, and you don't ever see anybody take the fight to Brock Lesnar.
And to see Brock Lesnar lay down for somebody like Samoa Joe is just a huge
that means he respects him a little bit. He respects Braun. He doesn't respect Roman Reigns.
At least
he
respects Joe at least a little bit. At least a little bit.
He doesn't respect anybody, but I mean, there's a little bit he respect. I mean, because he just wouldn't give Roman the time of day to do anything.
Yeah, just AJ is he's phenomenal. He could do it all. He is my favorite right now. I'm right ahead of Seth. He can fly. He can talk. I love his mic skills. I think his promos are solid. It's crazy that he's an older guy too. He's been around the world for decades, and he's finally came to WWE. And there is no doubt in my mind he is the guy for the entire brand right now. He could do it all. Great grappling skills. He strikes well. His kicks are phenomenal. I love it. I love his finishers as well. The phenomenal forearm, Styles Clash, even the calf crusher. It's all good moves. I just think AJ, he's the best there is right now. And this match, I'm actually very torn who's gonna win. But just looking into the future, I think Bryan's going to be the next guy in line, and I think I'd rather see a Bryan Styles match than a Bryan Samoa Joe match. So I'm actually going with AJ to retain.
I would really like to, going off of what you said, since I think that I want the Miz to win. I would love to see AJ Styles versus The Miz again, naturally. Mm-hmm. It would just be a wonderful match, and to see AJ Styles, the house that AJ Styles built. It's wonderful to see, to have somebody transition so flawlessly into WWE from all these different backgrounds, and to retain much of his style. He hasn't really changed that much from New Japan or TNA.
They just let him do his thing.
The only guy to skip NXT.
Oh, completely.
Mm-hmm.
Just totally jumped over it.
Even Shinsuke, who was a huge name in New Japan, he even had to spend a little bit of time in NXT. Or even Drew McIntyre, who came from WWE all those years ago, he still had to go overseas and be Drew Galloway for a little while in different organizations and come back to NXT again and then make his way up and earn his spot on the WWE roster. And even then, he's still Dolph Ziggler's lackey. Taking somebody like AJ Styles, the character, the moveset, the ring ability, his safety, he hasn't really hurt anybody while he's been in the WWE. I mean, granted, there were some freak injuries that happened in New Japan. And
not really his fault, though.
They're very rarely, if ever, his fault. It's really going to be a spectacle to see him versus Samoa Joe. Joe's going to kill you. Mm-hmm. I don't think this time. It seems like AJ's going to really take the fight to him, and he's going to retain the belt one more time.
I'll be the odd man out. I'm picking Samoa Joe. Because if I think that there's one guy that's going to take the fight to AJ Styles, is going to win. And the guys that are on SmackDown right now, I think Daniel Bryan's too raw now. I think it's about time that we see a change in the WWE Championship style. And Samoa Joe's a guy that fights with this ruthless aggression. He fights with great technical skill. He's very athletic for a guy his size. But the thing is that this is a guy that is dangerous. I mean, he plays this dangerous persona of just, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to kick your ass. Plain and simple. But the thing is that if I thought that there was a guy on SmackDown that was going to take the fight to him and dethrone AJ Styles, it should be Samoa Joe. It should be a heel like that because he plays the part so well of just the thing is that he just walks around, he does what he wants, and it's just I like what Samoa Joe brings because, you know, I'm an old school guy and I like love the old school guys, the heels that would just go around and just beat people up and stuff like that and play this part. Obviously, Triple H was one of those guys back then. It adds so much legitimacy to the fact that, you know what, Samoa Joe's too good for you to say, you know what, he's going to lose to AJ Styles. I mean, but that's also a feud that you know has been good in the past and on those indie scenes and TNA. The fact that if there's a guy that's going to beat AJ Styles, it's Samoa Joe. And it might just, and you know what, you make AJ Styles, if you're going to give him the belt back, you can give the belt back to him, but you give it back to him after he passes out in a coquina clutch, and Samoa Joe gets his hand raised high with the belt, which will lead to a feud going on forward. Because you know what? You have Samoa Joe hold it for a while, for a little bit. AJ Styles gets his redemption. Then you can start setting up. You can actually stretch this, I think, for a couple of months. And then at one point, AJ takes it back. And then you start putting Daniel Bryan in that picture, and you get the dream match.
You know, it's very interesting that you say that he holds on to the coquina clutch a little too long. It would be very interesting to see if they do something new for once and they really surprise us. And they have Samoa Joe hold on to the coquina clutch for so long that he gets disqualified after the match.
Ooh.
He would be the kind of guy to do that kind of thing. You've seen him do it in the past, but he's never been penalized for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if Paige comes running out with 30 or 40 people just trying to break this up and trying to get him off of AJ Styles, to strip the belt from him after he's won it, not give it to AJ Styles, and then they have to have a rematch in the future. And that is the cause of the feud.
Wow.
Because AJ Styles, as we've seen, has been the victim of heinous, horrible acts, and he's been able to overcome it. Having it start with getting choked out for a longer period of time than it seems medically possible, have him overcome that.
I just think that, you know
really
what,
cool
there's
to
too
watch.
much about WWE, and it's like, oh, you just can't go right into the world title picture. And that makes me, it upsets me a little bit. But the fact that, like, you look at all these guys, like, oh, Kevin Owens can't hold the WWE champion, they can't hold a world championship until he becomes Intercontinental champion first. Shinsuke can't be WWE champion unless he holds the United States championship first. Why? Why is that a necessity? It just doesn't make any sense to me with the fact that, you know what, guys like Shinsuke and guys like Samoa Joe and guys that have been so significant throughout their entire wrestling career, why can't they just go right into the world title picture? Obviously, you want to build them up, but why is it such a necessity that you have to have a guy hold the singles championship before being a world champion? Especially guys that have proven themselves in the wrestling world, like Samoa Joe, like Shinsuke Nakamura. It just...
Because they're not Brock Lesnar. And I'm going to pull a Paul Heyman because Brock Lesnar has been, in my memory, he's really the only person to be able to do that in a very long time. Because he came straight into it, hit the ball rolling, beating the hell out of jobber after jobber. Even when he first
AJ Styles was WWE champion before he was United States champion.
Finn Balor
Touché.
was...
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Finn Balor. But even he had to go through...
But he's not significant anymore.
Yeah,
He
Well,
had to
not
go through
anymore.
NXT.
At the time he was, but...
Speaking of Brock Lesnar, our last
talk about
topic,
legitimacy, huh?
the Universal Championship, and this is something that, you know, I know all three of us just want to get off our chest, but I think that it's time.
The Uranus title?
It's time to get the belt off of Brock, and it's because of the fact that, you know what, you are wasting one major feud every single month up to a pay-per-view because you don't have a world champion. Because you don't have the biggest belt in there because Brock Lesnar is like, yeah, I'm going to show up every 2 and 3 days. You know what? 2 or 3 months if being generous. But you know what? That's what's in his contract. That's what Vince McMahon wants him to do. But it's just a fact that, you know what? You're wasting guys like Finn Balor. You're wasting guys like, I wouldn't really say wasting Seth Rollins, but I think he's a main event guy.
He's being wasted.
You're wasting guys like Drew McIntyre who might be able to finally fight for a world championship because he's improved his fighting style so much. You're wasting guys like Bobby Lashley. You're wasting guys like Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens. Those guys that are guys that can compete for a universal title.
Even Rusev. Even take Rusev, somebody like him who just has the backing of the crowd.
But that's a different show. He's on. I mean, he was in the world title picture.
Still the Superstar shakeup every year.
Exactly,
just to get these people that need momentum and need that kind of notoriety, just to get them over to the most
and you need to get it off him with the fact that, you know what, if it's Roman Reigns, but I think the thing that's been so impressive about this whole thing within these last few months of build-up is the fact that, you know what, you have built this up and it's working for the first time in 2, 3 to 4 years. Roman Reigns got over with the crowd.
Finally getting cheers.
Finally getting cheers. They were chanting his name when Brock Lesnar was holding Paul Heyman, when he F5'd him and holding Paul Heyman's face in his hand. And it's working, because it really is working.
We want Roman.
And it's brilliant with the fact that that you've been able to do this with Roman Reigns, because you know what? You needed to find that spark. And I finally think this is a spark. And what really got me was Paul Heyman's crying into an interview with Renee Young saying that Roman Reigns has no chance against Brock Lesnar. I mean, if that doesn't scream Roman's going to overcome the odds, I don't think it was. But the thing is that you can't screw this up if you're WWE. You want Roman Reigns to replace John Cena. Fine. That's what you want. Am I a big fan of it? No. I think it should be Seth Rollins. Obviously, it's AJ Styles, if I'm being completely honest. But if you want Roman Reigns to be the man, he needs to beat a guy like Brock Lesnar. He does. He has to beat a guy like Brock Lesnar, especially after all that's happened within these last couple of weeks. The disrespect that Brock's shown to Paul Heyman, the disrespect he's shown to an Olympic hero and guys that people cheer all the time, Kurt Angle, and how he's literally straight up said, I don't give a crap about those fans that want you to come out. Like, I don't give a crap if they want me to come out. I don't want to come out here. I'd rather be at home. This is how you build Roman Reigns. It is. It's how you make this guy significant. If you have him lose at SummerSlam, he is dead completely, and you can't bring him back from that. You can't.
Yeah, he's this whole feud. It's just been boiling over for 4 years now, ever since Seth cashed in at Mania all those years ago. But the thing with Roman, you're cheering him now. I just think they're cheering him because it's been like this for a while. Just the fans are just so over Brock Lesnar. He's never there. The title is useless, and the fans just want to see the Universal title back on Raw again. And I'm gonna say it, they may be cheering Roman now. 3 weeks, I think he is going to win. Like, it's champion. They're gonna just turn on him again. Like, they just want the belt off of Brock. And this is gonna be one of those slobber knocker matches. He's gonna throw like 8 Superman punches. There's gonna be 10 German suplexes. Probably F5.
I don't care how sloppy this match is. Honestly, it's just a fan of wrestling. I hate to see all this talent on Raw get wasted. I don't care how bad this match is as long as Roman Reigns wins.
Yeah.
And I think it's finally time. So my prediction, finally, Roman Reigns wins and pulls through.
Scott?
All this news of having Dana White and Vince McMahon in the same room trying to get a deal with Brock Lesnar makes this very interesting. I'm very curious to see how that's going to pan out, because if they can ink a deal and they can both share Brock Lesnar, I don't think Brock's going to lose the belt until WrestleMania. I think he's going to keep it. And this whole thing with Paul Heyman, he's going to be the other side of the heat that he's going to have every single month for the next 7 months, 8 months. He is going to try to find new Paul Heyman guys to beat Brock Lesnar. to no avail. And then finally, at WrestleMania, he's going to find the one and the only that's
CM Punk.
Don't even. That's a pipe dream. Maybe on the Jericho Cruise. Maybe on the Jericho Cruise he'll come on. But I honestly don't see Brock losing it. He won't ink a deal if he doesn't hold that championship. That's literally the Lesnar championship now. It's nothing more than that. And as soon as he's gone, they're probably going to make
So, I mean, the sacrificial lamb is the fact that WWE's just given up on Roman Reigns.
I honestly, I can't see them having Roman lose to Reigns. Like, this would be like, what, the 4th time? Or something like that. I just can't see him losing again. Roman's going to end up hitting a spear, getting the 1, 2, 3, and then to end the night, Kevin Owens' music's going to hit, and he's going to cash in and take advantage of a Roman Reigns, and he's going to take the title right off Reigns after winning it 2 minutes ago.
Can you imagine if Kevin Owens pulls a Seth Rollins in the middle of this match?
I think Kevin Owens would do it. Is going to do it after the match. I would love to see Kevin Owens flat out just win the match if he did that. But
I'm hoping that Kevin Owens doesn't have it and we see Braun Strowman instead. But
I honestly think WWE. I think they may have finally gotten the point. The crowd hates Roman. They hate Brock too. They just hate Brock more than Roman. So they're cheering for Roman right now. And I think just that crazy turn of events to end such a significant pay-per-view, putting a title back on Kevin Owens, I think it'd just be a great way to end the show and another heel champion. And I love Kevin Owens as a champion, so I would love to see that.
But you also have to think about the track record of the WWE and really pulling the trigger at the right moment. They tend to go about a month over what was the peak, or 2 months over what used to be the peak. Like, take even Hardy and, well, the Hardy Boys, and when they finally stopped being the Hardy Boys and getting more into the broken gimmick, when Matt was finally allowed to get into it. And he had that feud with Bray Wyatt. Of course it was fun to watch, but it fell flat. It didn't have nearly the amount of crowd push that it should have had. And it seems like the WWE, they aren't very keen on taking risks. So it seems like Lesnar's been doing really well as a heel. He's been making a lot of money as a heel and as just an overall businessman. He's been doing very excellently through the WWE and even through the UFC, trying to organize a fight with Daniel Cormier. He's bringing up a lot of buzz. And to have him walk into the cage with a Universal Championship, what more could Vince possibly want?
Oh, no, I think his fans are just too over not having the title on the show, and they broke CM Punk's record. If they just wanted to do it as spite, they finally got
they
that
did
now.
it as spite.
Of course. So they can't have the champion not on the show anymore. It's been too long, and I feel like you can't bury Roman Reigns any more than they already have. So at least if they give him the win, yeah, I'm just hoping Kevin Owens cashes in. That's my Super Bowl prediction of the night. It probably won't happen. It's just my prediction. But for the match itself, Roman's going to win.
All right, guys, final thoughts. I mean, we went through the entire show here.
Still, the most exciting match of the night is going to be Miz versus Daniel Bryan, with probably the AJ Styles match being a close second. I'm very curious about these two matches in particular. Those, I hope, are going to be the best. It seems as though the Miz versus Bryan match is going to be the highest rated, if not the match of the night, but we'll have to see how the ending pans out, because that tends to make or break the matches now.
Nick, final thoughts?
Yeah, those two matches are definitely going to be phenomenal. Just the storytelling that's going to be going on between Miz and Bryan is going to be classic. I'm also, the Money in the Bank match, I think, is going to be really good. I love Kevin Owens' moves. Braun Strowman, just a complete monster. There's been good story there, too, just with Braun just picking on Kevin Owens for weeks now, stealing his car, flipping over cars, throwing him off cages. And all in all, I think this show is going to be really solid. There's a few matches that are probably going to be duds. The crowd's not going to be too into. But overall, I should be a pretty solid SummerSlam.
All right. Well, I mean, the funny thing is that we've been rambling on about wrestling. For those of you that don't watch really professional wrestling but had a chance to make it through this podcast, I mean, we were talking about wrestling for an hour and 30 minutes. That's how much the runtime is. But that's how, like, for those of you that don't understand and you're like, oh, well, it's fake. How can you like that? This is like actual tea. Like, you know what?
Think about Talking Dead, how long that show is, and how much that's really pulled up when Walking Dead was still a big show. Still is a big show.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
he's
can sit there and you can talk about Game of
Yeah, I
Thrones
can
for
talk about
forever.
Game of Thrones.
This is
yeah.
just what it is. It's just live, and it's like, yeah, it's not like obviously the punches and the kicks aren't fake, and everything's as safe as possible. It's not real. They're not actually doing this stuff to each other. But I mean, it's like TV. It's like drama. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's what makes it exciting. I mean, we got a pretty good idea what's going to happen, but I mean, this is what the world of professional wrestling is. I mean, we can talk about different predictions and stuff like that for an hour and 30. It's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely something that is something that a lot of people watch, but this is the reason why. Because it's exciting, because we want to see people doing flips and people hitting each other with chairs, and I love watching Aleister Black do that spinning black mass heel kick. I love watching him take people's head off with that, and Ricochet and AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. I mean, that's what makes wrestling interesting, is the story behind it and the actual wrestling athleticism, because I can guarantee most of you that don't like wrestling or think it's fake, you can't do the stuff that they can do in the ring.
Oh, they certainly these guys. They take bumps. Like these guys get hurt all the time. Just look at Seth Rollins. His knee was torn up. He missed basically a full year. These guys go through a lot, and even just with the runtime on this, there's like 10 matches on this card. Like this isn't like your normal pay-per-view. This is like your mini WrestleMania. So there's just every title is being defended, and it's a long show. Pre-show starts at 5. The show's gonna last till 12. It's probably gonna be like a 7-hour pay-per-view, just like Mania was. But even just a quick shout out, NXT is gonna be phenomenal the night before.
Excellent.
Phenomenal card.
Let's hope it doesn't outshine SummerSlam too much, because NXT has been outshining the pay-per-views.
They're going to.
But
again.
we'll
the
see.
writing is just too good on it.
Yeah.
But that'll do it from Conn and the Stick. I'd like to thank Scott Bargeson for joining us today, being our first special guest that we've had on this show. I'm sure you had a lot of fun talking wrestling with us.
Oh, it's always fun talking wrestling with you guys, and I'm really excited to come on here again if you guys let me.
Absolutely. So from the Stick, Nick Smith and myself, I'm Justin Connolly. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing this a little bit more. Our next video will probably be reactions to SummerSlam, or we're going to think of different things in which to do to wrestling. So definitely worth a listen to. Thanks for listening.